The Kalamas and the CHARVAKAS. After the Kalamas had just recovered from the Buddha and his bunch of monks, a few days later, another holy man came to the troubled village of Kesaputta with his followers. Fortunately, this time it was only a small group. No one knew what spiritual paths these people were following. Only later did they learn that they were Charvakas. Charvakas, also known as Lokayata, Babel materialists, nihilists, atheists, deniers of God and karma. These holy men were clothed only with the wind. In other words, they were naked. The Kalamas immediately shoved their wives into their houses, but the wives peered through the cracks in the bamboo walls at the holy man, the naked man. They could clearly see that their male organs were well covered with the foreskin, which they had not been able to see with the Buddha. This small group did not cause a big stir. The nakeds settled quietly in the shade of a large tree and then sat motionless and silent. This aroused the curiosity of the Kalamas, because usually the other wisdom teachers always came to the village with great noise. The disciples ran ahead of them and announced their great master with drums. But these naked people did not want to cause any stir, but only to rest in the shade of the big tree. The Kalamas were a little confused. What should we do? Offer them food? For all the other ascetics and self-torturers who came to the village had renounced the world, but not the food. And though the Kalamas came to the group as usual with their pots and the remaining rice and offered them to the nakeds. The leader of the group looked calmly on the rice, then at the kneeling people and said, "Even if you give us food, do not think that you accumulate any merit. Neither in this life nor in a next life, for there is none." The Kalamas looked at him in amazement. Normally, the other teachers would always promise them a better life on earth and in the beyond, if they would only give them plenty of food. But the group ate slowly and silently. The Kalamas told the master, his name was Kosala, as they later learned, what the Buddha had told them. Kosala listened in silence. After emptying his begging bowl, he said calmly, "You don't need to tell me anything. I know Buddha's teachings well. He always attacks me. So in order to be able to reply to him, I need to know what he is teaching." After the master and his disciples had eaten, they did it very slowly and fully consciously and mindfully. The Kalamas wanted to receive as a reward for their food donation, if not married, the next life, At least something instructive for this life. So they said, Master, give us a few wise words to help us live our lives comfortably and avoidant calamity. The master, with a long white beard and unkempt long hair that half covered his nakedness, said, I have nothing to teach. The Kalamas said, we cannot believe that. Otherwise, these disciples would not follow you if you had nothing to teach. They only follow me because they want to. My teaching is a non-teaching. To everything that others teach, I teach the opposite. One man asked him, what are you teaching? What is your doctrine? Kosala said, none. So what do you want from me? Do not crave for teachings. Give up all teachings. Live simply. Do not ask yourself what is good, what is evil. What is good for you, do it. Now, who was this man who said such things? His full name was Makali Kosala. He explained to the people, Buddha considers me his major rival. I don't judge the Buddha, but he constantly judges me. If he is so sure about his truth, why is he judging me then? He even makes fun of the fact that I was born in a cowshed. Yes, my name is Kosala. That means cowshed. It refers to my humble birthplace. And so what? Does it matter? To be born is important, not where you are born. Buddha thinks he is something better because he grew up in a small palace. But where was he born? Under a tree. Is that better? When my mother was pregnant, she and my father came to the village Makali. Because they could not find a shelter elsewhere, my parents lived in a corner of a cowshed, Kosala. But it was there where I was born. A Brahmin, one of the few learned men of the Kamalas, Kalamas, wanted to show himself very learned. So he asked the eternal old question, who created the universe? Gonzala took his time to answer. He knew this boring question, which was really irrelevant for daily life. Finally, he said, nobody created the universe. Only some foolish men declare that the Creator made the world. There is no God who created the world. The Brahmin said, then how did this world come into being? Kosala, spontaneously. But there must be a primal cause. The universe happened by accident, without any cause. There is no reason behind the creation of the universe, and there is no mystical end to it. The man went on asking, and the gods? First was the universe. The gods came later. They were all invented by man. Don't believe in any god. Be your own god. Another man asked, astonished, In the holy books, it is laid down that we should worship the gods. Who say this? Clever priests who want to rule over people and make them submissive and willing to give alms. Should we not give alms? Almsgiving is a doctrine of fools. Don't waste your time with worshipping. Worshipping and rituals do not bear any fruit. These rituals are only useful as means of livelihood for the priests. Use your time for yourself. Enjoy, dance. Don't waste your food for offerings. Yes, that is true. All these offerings of fruits and rice cost a lot of money. So eat the food yourself, otherwise the priests will eat it. Gods have no mouths, no teeth to chew a banana. And all the obscene rites commanded by the priests have no divine authority. They are all invented by these clever impostors as means to provide them a livelihood without work. Another man said, we have many gods in our houses. What shall we do with them? Throw them out, make space. Those of wood, use them as firewood for cooking, or just keep them as a nice decoration for the room. Another scholar asked, and what about the holy books? I have many and recite from them every day. Ha ha! These holy books are full of untruths and contradictions. The impostors who call themselves scholars attack each other, criticize each other. They don't agree on anything. A man said, but if we don't give alms and do not worship any god, how can we make merit for this and the next life? Fools say that almsgiving, where they will make merit. There is no making of merit through giving alms. All these ideas are just fantasies fabricated by stupid impostors. The man said, Buddha said that the suffering is a result of evil deeds committed in the previous lives or in the present one. To escape suffering, we have to work off the accumulated evil karma. There is no karma which you accumulate. There is no reward or punishment for either good or bad deeds. Trying to liberate yourselves from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth to achieve liberation, moksha, is a waste of time. Suffering is not the result of past actions. It takes place without any cause. There's nothing we can do to achieve liberation or moksha. We just have to hope that all will go well with us. The man asked, why are you then practicing asceticism? It is not self-torturing, but moderation in everything. In this way, one can diminish suffering. Ignorant people think by practicing such or such a moral discipline or austerity or holy life, they can avoid unripe ripen karma to ripen. That cannot be. Just as when a ball of wrapped up string is thrown, it rolls along, unwinding until it comes to its end. There is no more force of action that ripens in an afterlife. No good or bad rebirth is affected by what one does or do not do. Actions have immediate effect in the present life, but without any moral traces. All beings in the course of time will reach final salvation. So don't worry. So we shall be liberated without any effort? Yes, there is salvation for all. Hi. Great, great. No more effort, no more effort. Rosala soothed them. Don't be followers of any teacher. Don't follow any special rules. Be followers of the way of life Lokayata. Following certain rules or the enlightened paths of the Buddha will not free you. Live life for its own sake, rather than for the sake of a doubtful afterlife. The man asked, everything we like, other teachers say we should give up. I teach you the way of life. Enjoy life as long as you have life. Live happily. When you are dead, you will not be able to enjoy anything. With death, all is annihilated, because then your body has turned into ashes. And without the body and the senses, how can you enjoy? Therefore, the best way for you, ordinary men, is to follow the way of Lokayata, the way of life. There are no absolute moral laws. Buddhists accuse me of immorality, unchastity, and worldliness. But judge by yourselves. Observe my simple lifestyle. Is that immoral? Worldly? No, said the people. A fool wears himself out by self-mortification and fasts. Chastity is prized by weaklings. Buddha was influenced by my ideas, even if he does not admit it. My teaching influenced him in his skeptical attitude. So he refuses to answer questions which do not lead to liberation. Questions on what may happen after death. By rejecting my extreme nihilism, now he teaches the middle way between annihilation and eternalism. Buddha considers me his major opponent and tries to refute my views. If he considers me wrong, why does he go on to refute me? But my arguments are so significant that he continues to refer to them. I esteem truth and freedom of thought. I refuse to subjugate reason to faith. Buddha does not allow or does not follow his own message. He wants you to believe what he is teaching. You should follow his eightfold path. He tells you, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. But the best teacher is the one who teaches you how to think for yourself. My view is only one among many. What I say, analyze it critically, and where you find that I am wrong, give an evidence or explanation. This Buddhists are not renowned for much critical thinking. They are not using their reason. They have only faith in everything Buddha says. The foolish and the wise wander for the fixed lengths of their life on earth until death makes an end to all suffering. None can escape death. When once they burn your body, you will never again return. Those who declare that there's an afterlife speak only empty words. With the breaking up of the body, both the foolish and the wise alike are annihilated. Nothing of them exists after death. Forget about any afterlife in another world. There is no other world other than this. This is the only world. A person is composed of the four elements. When he dies, the earth in his body returns to the earth. The water in his body returns to water. The fire in his body returns to fire. And the air in his body returns to air. His sense faculties pass over into space. His corpse is carried to the gentle ground. Later his bones turn white, and all the offerings end in ashes. The man asks, does it mean that there is no afterlife? Yes. There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is no other hell than this world. And suffering is caused only by purely mundane causes, like a thorn. Brahmins have established expensive ceremonies for the dead as a means of their livelihood. Huh? If a beast is slain as an offering to the dead and will go to heaven, why then does not the sacrificer offer his own father? If beings in heaven are gratified by your offerings here, then why do you not give the food to those who are standing on your doorsteps begging for food? If he who departs from the body goes to the other world, why does he not come back again, restless for love of his loved one? The Kalamas said, but Buddha told us that we should find out for ourselves what is good. That may be an error. Because of a little suffering, he concludes that all life is suffering and unsatisfactory. But a good meal can be satisfactory to still your hunger. So what you might find out through interference may not be the truth. Truth can be merely an accident of interference. Be skeptics. Question whatever you think. Go on doubting. The Kalamas said, even Buddha told us that. So, doubt his own teaching. Maybe life is not such a misery as he wants you to see it. The only goal of life is the enjoyment of sexual pleasures. But Buddha says the pleasure which arises from contact with sensible object is to be avoided, as it is accompanied by pain. Such is the reasoning of fools. The man said, but Sense pleasures cannot be called the purpose of life. The sense pleasures are always mixed with some kind of pain. Yes, it is not possible to have pleasures without pain. But with some wisdom, you can enjoy pleasure and avoid pain as much as possible. Just as the man who eats fish eats the meat and leaves the scales and the bones, or just as the man who eats rice takes the rice and throws away the straw and husk. So don't, out of fear of pain, reject the pleasure. There is nothing wrong with sensual pleasures. Do not torture yourself with austerities. Enjoy heaven now by eating delicious food. Enjoy a beautiful woman now. Dress with fine clothes. Put garlands around your neck. Do not renounce anything to gain liberation. When you are dead, you will not be able to enjoy anything. The fire is hot, the water is cold. Refreshing cool is the breeze of the morning. From where does this come? From their own nature. No supernatural cause is needed. All is produced spontaneously. Don't believe in a soul, in karma, rebirth, or an afterlife. Don't waste your time with religious rites. They are useless. There is no heaven, no liberation, nor any soul in another world, nor do the actions produce any karma. There is no karma or result of good and bad actions. There is no world beyond. There is no beings who have taken rebirth. There are no scholars or Brahmins who can explain the world beyond with their own direct knowledge. No need for ethics or morals. While you are still alive, live happily, enjoy the good things, even so you run in debt. What Kosala was saying appealed to the Kalamas. His speech was more agreeable to them than what the Buddha had said. The Buddha was so dry. His teaching was just for monks who have a lot of time to meditate. When Kosala had gone, the people were happily singing and dancing. No God, no rebirth, no karma, no fruits of merit, no moral rules, no sin. It was as if a heavy load had fallen from their shoulders. Now they felt free just to live in the here and now. They were all happy that they no longer had to worry about all these pointless questions. What is good? What is evil? What comes after death? Do we have to suffer for our deeds or not? Which God is the right one, or which one should we worship? No, now they could work carefree in their fields and devote themselves entirely to sticking the rice plants into the warm mud. When the Buddha heard that the Kalamas were not following his teachings, but those of his hated opponent, he was understandably angry. He kept shouting, "Wrong view! Wrong view!" He immediately wanted to return to the village of Kesaputa in order to return the miserable, mistaken Kalamas to the right, the only true eightfold way, his own. But Ananda, his long time, still unenlightened servant, stopped him. Exalted, venerable, don't do that. Let people choose the path that best suits them. In their somewhat backward development, they will probably have to be reborn several times more before they can appreciate and accept your noble path to liberation from all suffering. They still have too much dust in their eyes to be able to see it. The mass of men consider wealth and satisfaction of desire the only ends of life. They don't want to be liberated from life. They are not interested in everything of a future world and follow only the way of life that CHARVAKAS teach. For them only the material world, Loka, exists. This enlightened the enlightened one. And so he calmed down and let the matter with the Kalamas rest for several rebirths.